Good morning, everyone. Will you please rise and join one of our graduating students in music education with a concentration in vocal performance, Mr. R.J. Leonard, in the singing of the national anthem. Welcome to the Spring 2016 commencement of the College of Arts and Sciences. My name is Amit Chakrabarty, and I serve as the interim dean of the college. This is a happy occasion to which we particularly welcome parents, spouses, and relatives and friends of the 2016 graduates. What a great crowd. Please be seated. We are here this morning to honor these sitting graduates and to celebrate with them their success in the completion of their rigorous programs. They follow the path of a diversity of people who came before them and impacted our community here in Northeast Kansas. Whether you know this place as K-State, Kansas State Agricultural College, or KSU, it has been home to many graduates who came before you. Many who were the first in their families to attain a college degree. And many K-State alumni stayed in Kansas out of love and pride of this area. Today we honor all the people who came before and all the people who contributed to your success. I would like to introduce the platform party and ask that each member of the party stand as their name is read and remain standing until all have been introduced. Dr. Wayne Goins, University Distinguished Professor of Music and Director of Jazz Studies. Dr. Kimati Choma, Assistant Dean of Diversity, Recruitment, and Retention. Dr. Louis Benjamin, Associate Dean of Academic Affairs. Dr. Allison Whitley, Assistant Dean of Students. Dr. April Mason, Provost and Senior Vice President. Ms. Linda Cook, Vice President of Communications for the K-State Alumni Association. Dr. Beth Montalon, Associate Dean for Research. Dr. Lauren Ritterbusch, Associate Professor of Archaeology. Mr. R.J. Leonard, Graduating Senior, Music Education, with a concentration in vocal performance. Dr. Peter Dorhout, K-State Vice President for Research. Mr. Ashok Ariel, Graduate Teaching Assistant in Mathematics. And Ms. Sarah Buchanan, Academic Advisor for Psychological Sciences. Please join me in recognizing the platform party. We wish to recognize the heads and representatives of all departments in the College of Arts and Sciences. Could each individual stand as their name is read and remain standing, and please hold your applause until all have been introduced. Aerospace Studies, Lieutenant Colonel Sean Martin. American Ethnic Studies, Dr. Yolanda Broyles Gonzalez. Art, Professor Matthew Gaynor. Biochemistry and Molecular Biophysics, Dr. Philip Kleba. Biology, Dr. Brian Spooner. Chemistry, Dr. Eric Mata. Communication Studies, Dr. Tim Steffensmeyer. Economics, Dr. William Blancano. English, Dr. Karin Westman. Geography, Dr. Charles Martin. History, Dr. Michael Crisco. Geology, Dr. Pamela Kempton. Journalism and Mass Communication, Dr. Birgit Wasmuth. Mathematics, Dr. Andrew Bennett. Military Science, Captain Matthew Klein. Modern Language, Dr. Derek Hillard. Music, Theater, and Dance, Dr. Kurt Gartner. Philosophy, Dr. Bruce Glimmer. Physics, Dr. Kristen Corwin. Political Science, Dr. John Flitter. Psychological Sciences, Dr. Donald Saucier. Sociology, Anthropology, and Social Work, Dr. Laszlo Kulzer. Statistics, Dr. Gary Gadbury. Women's Studies, Dr. Harlan Weaver. Please join me in recognizing the heads of our academic departments. It's my pleasure to introduce Dr. Louis Benjamin, Associate Dean for Academic Affairs, who will present our faculty awards.
I tend to be a little shorter. Okay. We will now present the William L. Stamey Awards for undergraduate teaching and advising in the College of Arts and Sciences. William L. Stamey is a mathematician and served as Dean of the College of Arts and Sciences for 17 years from 1970 to 1987. In recognition of Dean Stamey's outstanding record for recruiting excellent faculty to the Kansas State University, and in recognition of the continuing need to foster excellence in teaching and advising, the College of Arts and Sciences has established the William L. Stamey Award. The college will grant 4 such awards this year. Will the recipients please come to the podium as their names are read? Our first Stamey Teaching Award is presented to Dr. Lauren Ritterbusch, Associate Professor of Archaeology. Dr. Ritterbusch is an archaeologist and ethnohistorian whose research focuses on understanding past Native societies and migration in the Great Plains. A member of K-State's faculty since 1998, Dr. Ritterbusch is devoted to undergraduate teaching and sharing the story of past Native peoples with the wider community. She draws students to learning with intriguing insights into our human past and the methods by which past cultures are revealed. In her classroom, students engage with material remains, other primary resources, and critical thinking through evidence-based investigations. Ritterbusch also encourages quality K-12 instruction as a master teacher with Project Archaeology, a national organization. Dedicated to the mission of the land-grant institution, she collaborates with departments of the City of Manhattan, regularly shares her insights with civic and other organizations, and assists the Kaw Nation with recognition of their historical and linguistic legacy. Ritterbusch was also honored with the Stamey Award for Teaching in 2005. Congratulations, Dr. Ritterbusch. Our second teaching award recipient is Mr. Usak Aryal. Mr. Aryal is a graduate teaching assistant in mathematics with research interests in partial differential equation, free boundary problems, and harmonic analysis. Aryal received a bachelor's degree in mathematics and economics before going on to earn a master's in mathematics from Tubhavan University in Nepal before coming to K-State in 2015. Aryal is a member of the Numbers Theory Screening Committee, a help session coordinator, and a speakers program videographer with the math department. Congratulations, Dr. Aryal. Our third teaching award recipient is Dr. Sabri Shifsi, Associate Professor of Political Science, who could not be with us today. Shifsi, the Michael Schuleman Chair of Arab American Studies, received his PhD from Florida State University in 2005. He specializes in the Middle Eastern and Turkish politics. His research focuses on Islam and democracy, Arab public opinion, and Turkish foreign policy. His most recent projects examine anti-Americanism in the Middle East and religious tolerance. Shifty is the principal investigator of Turkish Parliamentarian Survey and Youth Attitudes about Turkish Foreign Policy Project. He teaches courses in Middle East politics, political Islam, comparative politics, and research methods. He uses active learning methods and enjoys teaching about intercultural tolerance in his courses. Let's congratulate Dr. Shifsi. Ms. Sharon Buchanan, Academic Advisor for Psychological Sciences, is this year's recipient of the Stamey Award for Advising. Ms. Buchanan joined the Department of Psychological Sciences as their part-time academic advisor in 2013. She advises approximately 250 undergraduate students, meets with prospective and current K-State students interested in psychology, and provides information and guidance to faculty advisors. Sarah has worked on committees to develop guidelines for the cases advising notes, create a template for a university advising syllabus, and served as the entertainment chair for the NACADA Regional 7 conference. Prior to her current position, Sarah worked as an academic program coordinator in the Mechanical and Nuclear Engineering Department, where she worked closely with faculty, staff, and students on undergraduate advising and programs. She received her Master of Science in Counseling and Student Development and Graduate Certificate in Academic Advising from Kansas State University in 2009. Her previous experience included serving as Graduate Research Assistant in the Office of Student Activities and Services, where she developed the K-State Healthy Decisions and Guide to Personal Success mentor programs. Congratulations, Sarah. All of our award winners are doing amazing things in our college. Please join me again in recognizing these award winners.
It is my pleasure now to introduce today's commencement speaker, Dr. Wayne Goins. Dr. Goins is a University Distinguished Professor of Music and Director of Jazz Studies. He has accomplished incredible things in his career, which you can find in your program. But rather than read that list of wonderful successes, I want to show you a video which captures the spirit that he brings to classroom and to his research.
I'm Wayne Everett Goins, University Distinguished Professor of Music in the School of Music, Theater, and Dance, and I teach jazz. What brought me to music is being born and raised in Chicago. My father was a blues harmonica player who knew a lot of famous blues musicians like Little Walter and Muddy Waters, and he kind of came up around that same time they did. I was listening to blues music all my life. I always knew I was going to be a musician. That's the only thing I ever cared about. The teaching bug hit me as a sophomore in college. I had my first real guitar student, and I realized I really loved sharing my knowledge with other people. I've been teaching ever since, so teaching and playing kind of go together to me. That's why this job is perfect.
Learning by ear, getting off the paper, being able to just live the music is the most important thing. Him emphasizing that so much really speaks to us.
They be willing to do the work. That doesn't mean that there's hours and hours spent in a practice room or at your desk analyzing stuff. It's doing the work in a smart way that takes less time. And Dr. Goins is more than happy to sit down with you and help you figure out how to do that.
I love teaching. I love playing guitar. I love being around jazz bands. I love influencing young musicians to turn into professionals. Some places, not to name any names, they're more like just a number, but here we give them some undivided attention that I think is very unique in the university system. Anybody interested in jazz should come and visit us because it's a lot of fun.
Please welcome Dr. Wayne Goins to the podium for your 2016 commencement speech.
Thank you, Dean Chakrabarty. To the entire platform, the distinguished guests, faculty, students, family, and friends. To the graduating class, I am here to say today is a glorious day. Look at all the people gathered here together to say congratulations and job well done to you. It's everybody's celebration today, but the party itself is being held because of you. This is about as close as I will personally get to being at a pulpit, standing in a robe, speaking to a congregation, so. This academic arena we find ourselves in this afternoon is great, but the marrow in the bones of academia has more to do with the capacity for compassion rather than the capacity for academic achievement. In 1983, I wrote these words: "The love in your heart wasn't put there to stay. Love isn't love until you give it away." Love is a do thing, even if only for yourself. Love does and always will start with you. But the rewards of life come more readily and in abundance when it doesn't stop there. For example, my wife and 2 daughters literally tripled my capacity to love and become the best me that I could have ever imagined. They gave me the opportunity of a lifetime to love and to be loved, which sometimes, ironically enough, can be an even harder thing to accept. As a kid, I always heard from my elders, be good. Not just at what you do, just behave. Do good. Be the embodiment of what good is. In 1990, I came up with the phrase, if you do the do, you won't the don't. This line of thinking has kept me out of a lot of trouble over the years. I try not to be in a position of regret. I try to find the things that I'm passionate about and then take those things to the very edge. The edge of enough, and then just a little bit more. While you're doing this, try not to hurt anyone in the process of becoming. Becoming what, though? That's up to you. I am a living testament that anything is possible if you just learn to trust your instinct. And if you mean well. In the words of Spike Lee, do the right thing. Tom Petty is one of my favorite musicians and composers. In one of his songs, he sings about going into the great wide open, where there are endless possibilities. He also sang about being a rebel without a clue. Could that be you? Well, here's a clue. Every second in life offers you at least 5 options. Moving forward, going left, going right, going backwards, or standing still. And sometimes standing still is still going backwards if everyone else is moving forward and you're not. In my own process of becoming, in 1985, while living in Chicago on the South Side, I drew a diagram for myself as a compass for my life's purpose and direction. Truth leads to understanding, knowledge leads to wisdom, and together at the heart of all 4 points, those 4 elements combine toward the center, and what I found there was insight. What exactly is the nature of insight? In essence, it's an innate sense or a natural instinct. It's when you don't even know how you know things, but you know you do. That happens to me a lot, and I've learned not to question it. It's the act of trusting your own instincts. It's what older people meant when they said, my first mind told me to do this, or my first mind told me to do that. In Atlanta in 1993, I created a meditation and prayer for myself. More than 20 years later, these things I still pray for in my meditation. Patience. It is one of the greatest virtues we have. It's a form of love, one of the highest manifestations of greatness. Everything evolves over time, slow and steady, yet moving forward all the time. Peace. Be still, be quiet. Hear the inner voice that never ever lies and will always tell you what to do next. The internal, eternal compass that burns deep inside every one of us. Do not abandon it, lest you lose yourself. Perseverance. Never give up. What doesn't kill you makes you stronger. Positivity. Oppose the forces of negativity all around the world to affect change. Change in you first, then those you love, through leading by example. Power. Use all your strengths to build something great. Passion. Dare to love with all your might. Purity. Be clean in mind, body, and soul. And so, in conclusion, go forward. Be great. Conquer the world. Dare to be great, to be different. Write your own speech. And last but not least, look deep inside your own selves. All the answers are there, waiting to be revealed to you. Today is a new day. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, sir. That was beautiful. That's beautiful. Linda Cook, Assistant Vice President of Communications at the K-State Alumni Association, will now bring you greetings from the Alumni Association.
Good morning. I am very pleased to be part of your special day and offer congratulations on behalf of the K-State Alumni Association, representing over 180,000 living graduates who will be your lifelong K-State family. Today, as you receive your degree, we are honored to recognize you and all you have accomplished. We are also here to welcome you into a new relationship with your alma mater. Our mission at the Alumni Association is to lead and inspire lifelong involvement that will benefit Kansas State University and all members of the Wildcat community. I would like to share 3 core values that guide us in our mission to help keep you connected with K-State. The first one is link. The Alumni Association provides a lifelong link that alumni depend on to remain connected. You stay in touch through hundreds of alumni activities held on campus, around the country, and internationally. Another value is tradition. You will likely celebrate a few traditions as you sing the alma mater today, or take those KSU photos at one of your favorite spots on campus. The third core value is purple. For K-Staters, that's more than a color. It's a symbol of pride and connection. Would you see someone wearing purple, or you see that K-State ring, or even someone showing off their K-State plate, you will feel that sense of family and connection. In recognition of your graduation, the College of Arts and Sciences and the Alumni Association are providing you with a complimentary 1-year membership in the Alumni Association. Please enjoy the membership benefits and continue to be an active member throughout your life. K-State alumni are among the most loyal in the nation. In fact, our membership ranks in the top 5 in the nation for percentage of graduates who are members. The loyalty is shared worldwide by generations of K-Staters who have that same passion for K-State that you feel today as you earn your degree from one of the finest universities in the country. The Alumni Association is also pleased to present you with an exclusive alumni business card holder. As you go through life and your titles and your addresses change, please be sure to let us know. We want to make sure that you are always connected to your K-State family. Congratulations to all of you, and go State.
It is now my great pleasure to invite Dr. April Mason, the Provost and Senior Vice President of Kansas State University, for the conferral of degrees.
Would the graduates please rise? It's definitely my privilege to confer your degrees. By the authority of the people of Kansas and the Kansas Board of Regents, and upon the recommendation of the faculty of the College of Arts and Sciences, I am pleased to confer on you the class of spring 2016 the respective degrees you have earned at Kansas State University. You may now move your tassels from the right to the left. You may now be seated, and you'll come forward at the directions of our marshals. Thank you.
Will the marshals please bring the graduates to the podium to receive the diplomas? Graduates, please note that you will receive the diploma cover. Your diploma, when you have completed the requirements, paid the library fines and all, will be mailed to you. Welcome.
The following students will receive a Bachelor of Arts degree in American Ethnic Studies. Sean Aaron Dowdle. Jalissa Shanae Jackson. The following student will receive a Bachelor of Arts degree in Art. Enya Seaton Quain. The following students will receive a Bachelor of Fine Arts degree in Art. Katie Lee Azeltine. Claire S. Boscom. Molly Amelia Bieber, cum laude. Christopher Lowell Blazin, cum laude. Brad Eric Bracken. Devlin Duranta Caldwell. Samuel Tucker Claxton. Nicole Lee Conroy. Shay Del Sarto. Emma Catherine Donnelly. Catherine Lorene Gloshin. Michaela Elizabeth Gonzalez. Ursula Faye Hegstrand. Kristen Ann Haverkamp. Maggie Lane Heck. Austin Blake Heimerman. Alexandra Marie Heflick, cum laude. Skylar Zethan Henry. Madison Kate Hoffman. Aubrey M. Ligg. Taylor Madison Cack. Lauren Janelle Kukendall. Madison Ann Lathram. Christopher Michael Laricos. Megan Marie McCain. Madeline Lee Middleton. Mark Anthony J. Moan. Joshua Lee Nolan. Chad Elliott Osterman. Lauren Ruth Reardon. Jonathan David Rodriguez. Abby Danielle Schleicher, summa cum laude. Haley Elaine Sedlacek. Jessica Leanne Tucker. Benjamin Charles Webb. Clarissa J. Worth. Samantha L. Wise. Lu Wu. The following students will receive a Bachelor of Arts degree in biochemistry. Jillian Rose Long, summa cum laude. The following students will receive a Bachelor of Science degree in biochemistry. Cassie Marie Binns. Olivia Suzanne Eliason. Macy Maria Garcia. Sarah Marie Joyce. Andrew Joseph Konechny, magna cum laude. The following students will receive a Bachelor of Science degree in biology. Great. Alua Tobaloba, Aluwasan Adanuga. Jaden John Anderson. Matthew Boudreau Ayers, cum laude. Giovanna Baca. Bailey Jane Berkmeyer, summa cum laude. Callie Alexandra Blanc. Ryan Alexander Brennan. Elizabeth Ann Beres. Mamie Leanne Carnes. Gabriela Chavez, cum laude. Rachel Joy Christie. Roquanza Javaria Chantalise Nakis. Garrett James Kawash. Kelsey Cole, summa cum laude. Madeline Jean Coulter, summa cum laude. Herman Israel Cuevas Garcia. Breck Avery Dakin. Adam Rashid Elkiwan. Emily Jeanette Ewert. Carolina Yvette Garcia. Brianna Holzer George, cum laude. Ethan Carlton Goss. Tani Helms. Nicholas Joe Heater. Jacob Gregory Hodge. Miranda Danae Hude. Samantha Ray Hostock, summa cum laude. Bill Fireharm, former Associate Dean in the College of Arts and Sciences, will be presenting this diploma to his granddaughter, Lauren Elizabeth Comer, summa cum laude. Jack Christopher Kovarek. Benjamin John Lagali, magna cum laude. Marley Marie Lowers. Cassandra Ann Linville. Jeremy Ryan Lott, cum laude. Miriam Marcedo. Alec Paul Mawley, summa cum laude. Alejandro Marquez. Rachel Elizabeth Martin. Shayla Christine Maclier, magna cum laude. Brandon Adam Meyer. Caitlin Renee Mohan. Robert Benjamin Morel, magna cum laude. Amanda M. Nelson. Caitlin Joe Nichols. Derek Paul Knoll, summa cum laude. Junwan Park. Allison Christine Paul. Ella Viktorovna Papava, magna cum laude. Taylor Roy Rentz. Matthew Christopher Roberti. Jarrett Jeffrey Romine, cum laude. Mercedes Terralisa Santiago, cum laude. Meredith Michelle Schmidt, cum laude. Emily Claire Sutton. Caleb Andrew Taylor. Serena Brooke Taylor. Lydia Sarah Grace Thompson. Michaela Lynn Timmons. Haralobos Yoris Samalios, cum laude. Ashley Lynn Whedon. Riley Michelle White. Joseph Robert Wimmer, magna cum laude. Joshua David Wirtz, magna cum laude. Chase Fulbright Wymore Wynn. The following students will receive a Bachelor of Science degree in Fisheries, Wildlife, and Conservation Biology. Nathan Daniel Boblitz. Jordan Daniel Bauman. Brett John Budak. Nicholas Joseph Dwyer. Jacqueline Marie Gert. Taylor Allison Gibson. Alexandra Michelle Grazel. Lucas Paul Hertwine. Emily Marie Johnson. Alexandria Cole McChesney. Rebecca Rose McElroy. Jessica Hannah Nguyen, cum laude. Suzanne Victoria Replogle Kernet. Robert Jeffrey Sharping, magna cum laude. Logan Paul Van Overscheld. Blake A. Walter, cum laude. Robert Edward Weber III, cum laude. Clayton Andrew Weiss. The following students will receive a Bachelor of Science degree in microbiology. Heidi Ashton Brown, magna cum laude. Brooke Allen Childers. Blake Lawson Evans. Melissa Ann Evans. Joseph John Finoglio. Marissa Renee Garrison. Delia Michelle Hernandez. Lauren Elizabeth Hutley, cum laude. Jacob Ryan Isaacson. Catherine Evelyn Elizabeth Johnson, cum laude. Victoria Noel Kunkel, magna cum laude. Sean Patrick Morris. Erica Marie Peters, summa cum laude. Catherine Frances Sensenik. Joshua R. Springfield. Caitlin Janice Stoll. Nicholas Kent Swearigan. The following students will receive a Bachelor of Science degree in chemistry. Eric Andrew Carlson. Matthew Neal Ford. Molly Catherine Jennings. Michael Allen Just. Juliana Knopp. Erica Lee Kruger. Timothy James Mangus. Kelly Marie Rourke. Benjamin Brenner Schmidt. Jacob Scott Schroeder, summa cum laude. Andrew Logan Warner. Great. The following student will receive a Bachelor of Science degree in Clinical Laboratory Sciences. Kelsey Marie Walton. The following students will receive a Bachelor of Arts degree in Communication Studies. Brianna Savina Carrillo, magna cum laude. Aaron Joseph Cunningham. Timothy Joseph Demo, cum laude. Catherine Audrey Githens. Madison Jade Hush. Cassidy Mackenzie Labra. Morgan Mackenzie Nail. Samantha Marie Pratt. James Edward Chandler Tinsman III. Sabine Willis, summa cum laude. The following students receive a Bachelor of Science degree in Communication Studies. Bailey Ann Canning. Houston Allen Enfield. Caleb Eli Frank. Cassandra Brianne Folk. Logan Taylor Hayes. Brittany Lauren Husong. Evan Thomas Malinowski. Emily Renee McMillan. Lauren Taylor Morstorff, summa cum laude. Aaron Thomas Neely. JC Dean Pashada. Connor Matthew Royston. Congratulations. Malobi Sabeti Sampson II. Amina Rebecca St. Hill. Michael A. Trimmel. Thank you.
following students will receive a Bachelor of Arts degree in Economics. Fernando Alarcon Capetillo. Alec Maurice Corey. The following students will receive a Bachelor of Science degree in Economics. Maureen Elizabeth Barry, magna cum laude. Colby Ray Bostick. Roxanne Petit Bunnell. Jonathan Findley Danielson. Christian Allen Davis, magna cum laude. Colin Thomas Halpin. Alexander Gordon Hammock. Sarah Jean Henderson, summa cum laude. Mackenzie Elaine Rabick, magna cum laude. Rebecca Ann Jenkins, magna cum laude. Lindsay Michelle Kurzdufer. Frederick Nicholas Lindsay. Samuel Joseph Nichols. Nathan Allen Rowe. Luke Samuel Sunderland. Chin Chin John. The following students will receive a Bachelor of Arts degree in English. Tiffany Marie Adams. William Thomas Ash.
Yeah! Let's go! Woo! Look at him. That big guy.
Eric Philip Bolduc. Christina Marie Cannon. Hannah Marika Childs. Elizabeth Ann Cummings. Richard William Dempster, cum laude. Melanie Elaine Dunlap. Susan Dalton Love Elder, cum laude. Dr. John Fleiter, Associate Professor of Political Science, will be presenting the diploma to his son, Eric James Fleiter. Brittany Catherine Rubach. Alyssa Morgan Haynes. Aaron James Heil. Sarah Mitchell Hernandez. Mary Elizabeth Jackson. Andrew Douglas Shalene. Caitlin Jennifer Krieg. Emma Louise Machel. Leaf Harold Nelson. Erin Rachel Rezacu. Brittany Dell Roberts. Eric Joseph Spears. Jamie Alice Claudine Tixiera de Maglis. Close. Dustin Lamar Van. William Lee Yeager. Dr. Roger McCain, professor in the College of Business Administration, is presenting the diploma to his daughter, Megan McCain, summa cum laude. The following students will receive a Bachelor of Science degree in Geography. Nicholas George Callis. Michael R. Dalrymple. Luke Robert Leo Finley. Kendall Calvert Hardinger. Brianna Catherine Seward. Lindsay Jeanette Swanson. The following students will receive a Bachelor of Science degree in Geology. Benjamin Wayne Crouch II. Kevin Alexander Henderson. Ryan Taylor Keast. Jacob Mannanen. Kaho Akayama. Kendra Marie Risen. Brooks Hunter Ryan. Trevor Spencer. Samuel Scott Stone. Taylor Lane Vaughn. Michael Anthony Vega. Following students will receive a Bachelor of Arts degree in History. Samantha Page Easley. Roberto Jose Gonzalez Flor, Sr. Richie Dean Inns. Austin McCampbell. Anthony Porter, Jr. Jennifer Shea Reichmuth. Daniel Joseph Schmidt. The following students will receive a Bachelor of Science degree in History. Brandon Alexander Elliott. Zachary James Foley. Jacob Paul Hutter. Adam Michael Kimberling. Kyle Aaron Klukas, cum laude. James C. Pearson, summa cum laude. Daniel Paul Ruiz II. Stephen Joseph Saratori. Johnny Lee Stinaba. Stephen Tyler Verespi. The following students will receive a Bachelor of Arts degree in Humanities. Emily Beth Cormier. Dr. Lotta Lorson, Associate Professor in the College of Education, is presenting the diploma to her daughter, Kaisa Cecilia Larson, cum laude. Shannon L. Madden. Alex Maldonado Hernandez. The following students will receive a Bachelor of Arts degree in Journalism and Mass Communications. Elena J. Bailey. Bridget Lee Barron. Cheyenne Marie Colburn. Mackenzie Lee Cordell, magna cum laude. Allison Grace Evans, magna cum laude. Sarah Marie Falcon. Carolyn Renee Fry. Alex John Gartner. Harold Dakota German. Emily Michelle Grotenhouse. Samantha Lee Grove. Abigail Taylor Hammock. Lexi Suzanne Hayes. Jessica Ann Hermesh, magna cum laude. Samatra Kandlur. America Daniela Martinez Serrano. Season Michael Osterfeld, cum laude. Lauren Nicole Price. Taylor Renee Russo, summa cum laude. Michael Henry Stanton. Kylie Justine Sturgis. Samantha Maria Trejo. The following students will receive a Bachelor of Science degree in Journalism and Mass Communications. Hannah Renee Akers. Tanner Ray Barth. Catherine Jane Beamer. Morgan Nicole Bell. Mackenzie Chase Benoit. Miranda Lynn Bauer. Bailey Marie Bridges. Courtney Jean Burke. Kylie Brianne Burris. Taylor Alexander Cabine. Leandra Terrence Carthen. Rodney U. Dimmick. Renee Lynn Gragg Douglas. Christian Grant Dick. Adrian Elise Eisenhower. Shelby Lee Estes. Kylie Fairman. Brandon Michael Fate. Lindsay Nicole Ford. Jacqueline Ann Forrester. Jordan Lee Gregory. Ryan Dean Haxton. Bailey E. Herford. Cameron Mackenzie Keatsman. Gian James Lamano. John Spencer Lofquist. Brian Paul Manring. Joshua John Martin. Matthew T. Maynard, magna cum laude. Allison Marie McBrien. Lindsay Marie McNary. Megan Nicole Miller, cum laude. Kenya Jacqueline Mills. Natalie Nicole Otto. Stephanie Diane Peterson. Latasha Helen Renee Pittman. Kelly Alinda Reese. Elizabeth Ann Reichert. Chandler David Riley. Jordan Taylor Royth. Devin Clark Rudichel. Sydney D. Rugen, magna cum laude. Nathan Earl Sage. Sagan Ashley Skates. Alexander Lawrence Schneider. Tracy Leanne Seeley. Colin David Sexton. Anna K. Shippey, summa cum laude. Tate Richard Steinlag. Maya Danae Tillman. Ashlyn Brooke Turner. Michelle Brianne Waycamp. The following students will receive a Bachelor of Science degree in Life Science. Audrey Loris Baker. Will Everett Bumgartner, cum laude. Morgan Aaron Breen. Kennedy Aaron Burton. Brittany Marie Chambers. Carrie Lynn Cummings. Gabrielle Rochelle Dieters. Brannon Shea Donovan, summa cum laude. Hannah Sekulis Griffin. Victoria Guzman, summa cum laude. Jennifer Lee Hale, magna cum laude. Rachel Marie Hare. Madeline Marie Hirschler. Michaela Janae Wilskamp. Poon Hur. Erin Danielle Keating. Alexander Charles Keller. Ashley Marie LeBlanc. Richard Angelos Lekas.
Richard! Woo!
Robert Brian Ludwig. Jason Nicholas Messner. Marin Elizabeth Ozier. Zachary Thomas Pascal. John Patrick Pistotnik. Andrea Danielle Self. Signe Elise Francis Showalter. Jamie Colleen Spears. Lucas Stephen Sprick. Emily Marie Taylor. Mallory Nicole Troyer. Connor Lee Vaughn. Blake Elizabeth Woberney. Jacob Joseph Watke.
The following students will receive a Bachelor of Arts degree in mathematics. Aisha Nicole Page, summa cum laude. The following students will receive a Bachelor of Science degree in mathematics. Allison Nicole Adams. Christopher Jacob Donnelly, cum laude. Joshua Brown Dunno. The following students will receive a Bachelor of Arts degree in Modern Languages. Deonda K. Bush. Carolyn Ann Gardner, cum laude. Casey Lee Gum. Madeline Muir Johnson, summa cum laude. Charles Lawrence King Hayden, cum laude. Jessica Aaron Long. Anna Karen Para. Leroy Arthur Prine II. Patrick Franklin Riggin. Anne Elizabeth Stolzheimer. Caitlin Marie Vaughn. Elizabeth Hope Wooldridge. The following students will receive a bachelor's degree in applied music. Ivy Carolyn Calvert, cum laude. Brian Thomas Inglesby, magna cum laude. Alexander K. Thoman, cum laude. The following students will receive a Bachelor of Arts degree in music. Allegra Noel Fisher, cum laude. Erin Elizabeth Moberly. The following students will receive a Bachelor of Music Education degree. Stephanie Lynn Downey, summa cum laude. Jasmine Jeree Bannister. Elizabeth Ashley DeBurlay. Robert William Hamilton. Anna Laura Hauntz. Ryan James Leonard. Bradley William Martinez. Catherine Gracie Omo. Melissa Witter Sauls. Andrew John Shearer, summa cum laude. The following students will receive a Bachelor of Arts degree in theater. Nicole Maria Cusana. Kristen Nicole Chase. Sophie Ann Elliott. Corey Nelson Jeanette, magna cum laude. Kristen Inez Kelly. Lucy Ann McDonald. Victoria K. Potacek. Mitchell John Ward. The following students will receive a Bachelor of Science degree in theater. Tanika K. Candace Joanne Buchanan. Darrington Robert Clark. Benjamin Thomas Degand. Carolyn Francis Fitzgibbons. Mark William Hay, cum laude. Grace Ellen Pearson. The following students will receive a Bachelor of Arts degree in philosophy. Clayton Tyndall Buckner, cum laude. Alexander Tuis Hevli. The following students will receive a Bachelor of Science degree in philosophy. Devin Michael Stepp. Taylor Ryan Wazinski. The following students will receive a Bachelor of Science degree in physical sciences. Carter Lumberg. Daniel Scott Preston. Heidi A. Ramsel. Gordon Edward Terry. The following students will receive a Bachelor of Science degree in physics. Tia Lacey Camarillo. Brandon Michael Davis. Ben Joseph LaValle. Ryan James Lutter, magna cum laude. Devin James McCarthy. Jaime Uriel Minarets. Tyler Benjamin Mitchell. Aaron Michael Morgan. Joshua M. Nilsson, cum laude. Kevin C. Robin. Edward W. Schenk IV, magna cum laude. Ryan James Scott. The following students will receive a Bachelor of Arts degree in political science. Ahmed Yasser Al-Najjar. Jill Marie Applegate, summa cum laude. Denise Alejandra Bernie Zambrini. Ciara Lynn Chambers, magna cum laude. Travis Michael Grogan. Andrew Christopher Hill. Lauren Elizabeth Johannes. Rebecca Leah Valdivanos K., cum laude. Monica Christiane McFarland, magna cum laude. Deanna Lee Milligan, cum laude. Nicholas Mark Strecker. Shia Washington. The following students will receive a Bachelor of Science degree in Political Science. Tanner Joshua Ashbury, magna cum laude. Brett Tyler Bessa. Kristen Jean Conley. Mason Scott Crosby. Brody Walter Herman, cum laude. Michael Frederick Mays, magna cum laude. Andrea Page Mick. Brandon Gerald Miller. Chandran Virgil Moreno. Jacob Price Morgan. Joseph Raymond Oakes, cum laude. Joshua Rakowski. Brianna Ashley Savage. Marcus Shepard. Cody Lynn Webster. Morgan K. Wills. The following students will receive a Bachelor of Arts degree in Psychology. Connor William Corley. Jamela Gail Horatio Gary. Grace Ann Heidebrecht, summa cum laude. Victoria Emily Lehman, summa cum laude. Paige Pearl Nelson. Emily Pearl Nelson, Shayla Hope Wassenberg, cum laude. Sydney Lynn Webb, summa cum laude. The following students will receive a Bachelor of Science degree in Psychology. Melissa Yvonne Alvarado. Clarissa Boberg. Blake Ann Burbach, magna cum laude. Andrea Lauren Boyles. Devon Marie Brown. Mauricio Enrico Caldera. Carolyn Holloway Sitola. Elisa Marie Chapman, cum laude. Jessica Ann Chase. Kelsey Len Couture, summa cum laude. Margaret Catherine Crabtree. Mary Kate Elizabeth Doyle, cum laude. Greg Robert Erickson. Colin Nathaniel Farrell. Kelsey Nicole Field. Danelle Tagama Gawaran. Carson Tyler Gentry. Clay Walker Gorell. Kristen Kaomi Graham. J.C. Lynn Harris, magna cum laude. Holly Shawi Lising Hieronymus. Chelsea Marie Heitman. Joshua Wyatt Hendry. Daniel Gordon Ho. Joshua Brian Hunt. Chandler Brian Imhoff. John Robert Brecky. Emily Teresa Jorgensen. Trevor Sean Keller. Mark Andrew Kent. Ashley Victoria Ladd. Caitlin Patricia Larson. Ashton Brene Moore. Erica Michelle Mormon. Michaela Zoe Peterson. Lauren Nicole Pino, cum laude. Nick George Pinto. Madeline Hope Ray. Aline Danielle Richards. Brianna Lee Rogers. Okay. Carlin Suzanne Ruggles. Jennifer Kathleen Russell. Kelly Michelle Cerna, summa cum laude. Drew Arthur Smith. Karen Elizabeth State. Joseph D. Tinker, magna cum laude. Dara Ann Tinkler, magna cum laude. Katie Kim Tron, cum laude. Carrie Elizabeth Turpin. Lindsay Page Wadeen.
The following students will receive a Bachelor of Arts degree in Social Science. Victoria Faith Banks. Thank you. Zachary Jeff Baumberger. Martine Sherry Hilaire. Karen Taylor McVeigh. Miguel, thank you. Miguel Emmanuel Powell. Tamara? Abels? Yeah. The following students will receive a Bachelor of Science degree in Social Science. Tamara Beth Abels. Lucas Everett Beninati. Austin J. Bergeron. Arthur Isaac Bolton IV. Amber Marie Briggs. Kishay Marie Brooks. Christopher Eugene Campbell. Chanel Marissa Carol Douglas. I always say the full. Cameron Durrell Cole. Victoria Lane Cranford. Crowsdale. Julie Marie Crosdale. John Patrick Doolin. Riley Shea Easton. Brandon Dean Erickson. Austin Michael Fields. Timothy Rodden. Hannah Louise Gray. Is out of order. Doris, right? Allison Doris Habiger. Habiger. Hanrahan. Kevin Patrick Hanrahan. Rena. Shauna Rena Harrington. Hernandez. Elizabeth Hernandez. Jawan L. Heron. Nicholas Kane Huber. Mr. Hurt. Stephen Lane Hurt. You go. DJ Johnson, Jr. Terrell Wayne William Johnson. I'm sorry. Brett A. Jones. Gardner Wayne Jordan. Ashley Catherine Kopko. Nicole Renee Mason. Caitlin Euclid Massey. Zach Paul May. Brandy Lachey McDowell. McKernan. Patrick Keegan McKernan. Jeffrey M. Miller. Tyler Jackson Moore. Natalie Rivera Nebres. Brianne Joy O'Brien. Brian Patrick Orick. Charles Richard Patch. Victoria Porton. Carl Edward Prince II. Melissa M. Keaton. Jenna Gabriela Ramos. Jacob Orion Reed. Shelby Lynn Rouse. Joseph Douglas Scott. Glenn A. Smith. Charles Andrew Spencer. Brian Spooner, University Distinguished Professor and Director of the Division of Biology, will be presenting the diploma to his son, Matthew S. Spooner. Tushoff? Michael John Tushoff. Whitney Claire Wall.
It's pronounced vinegar, just like vinegar.
Gotcha. Michael Joseph Winiger. Haley Keen Wiebe. Cole Timothy Wieters. Colton Kevin Ray. Chloe Nicole Zawisha. Jacqueline Ray Zinger. The following students will receive a Bachelor of Arts degree in Sociology. Catherine Rochelle Finn. Joe Boyd Guyven. Tyra Lynn Martine. Thomas O. Maloney V. Thank you. Ashley Tiana Murphy. Ripple. Caitlin Marie Ripple, magna cum laude. James Andrew Tyler, cum laude. Grace Alden Works. The following students will receive a Bachelor of Science degree in Sociology. Maxwell Robert Bartlett. Robert Allen Barton, Jr. Michael A. Bibb. Cody Nathan Blake. Brandon Deshawn Bolden. Michael Gregory Brown. William Woodward Clark III, magna cum laude. Confer. Clay Wesley Confer. Dirks? Dirks. Caden Quinn Dirks. Marcus Dominguez, summa cum laude. Nawen Cynthia Engel. Thank you. Andisha Elise Evans. Kaylee Victoria Feller. Athena Fernandez Acevedo. Athena Fernandez Acevedo. Kevin Stephen Foote. Matthew David Gaines. Devane? Yes. Raymond Devane Greer III. Erica LeRae Harley. Okay. Asoke Dyer. Charles Jones. Kuchera? Thank you. Chase Kuchera. Thank you. Jarvis Diallo Leverett, Jr. Okay. John Clarence Meese. Haley Marie Molenkamp. Thank you. Juan Unique Moore. Amanda K. Palmer. Blake Alexander Parker. James R. Parks, Jr. Karina Stephanie Pinzon. Austin Richard Rice. Ernesto Roman. Jerry Rose. Tyler Harlan Rosnos. Mackenzie Nicole Reuter. Why do I have two cards? Oh. Lexi Michelle Scoville, cum laude. Seacrest. Benjamin Lee Seacrest. Bradley Aaron Sellers. Jean L. Slocum. Ebony Kiona Smith. Quinn Augusta Truax. Harley Race Brem Walker. Terry K. Wilson, Jr. Paige Nicole Zaffron. No surprises. The following students will receive a Bachelor of Arts degree in Anthropology. Eleanor Grace Dickens. Rachel Michelle Nyhart. Julie Ann Opperman, cum laude. Jordan Thomas, summa cum laude. Mackenzie Lee Wade, cum laude. Ray? The following students will receive a Bachelor of Science degree in Anthropology. Wesley Ray Bland. Huddleston. Bethany Elaine Huddleston. Anna Catherine Ladd, cum laude. Emily Jane Meyer. Sophia Grace Tolentino, summa cum laude. The following students will receive a Bachelor of Arts degree in Social Work. Megan McGee Dickinson. Marley Francis Hitz. Turner McGuire Smith, cum laude. The following students will receive a Bachelor of Science degree in Social Work. Haley Renee Becker. Tiffany Renee Bowl. Story. Madison Story Book. Caitley Lynn Capps. Taylor Morgan Christian, magna cum laude. Megan Roxanne Finley. Thank you. Allison Elizabeth Freihart. Alice Renee Gaines. Rachel Leanne Gassman, magna cum laude. Emily Taylor Gehring. Catlin Ray Hagedorn. Hale. Emily Ann Hale. Molly Charlene Howland, magna cum laude. Michael Alexander Houston. Kearney. Cassidy Ray Kearney. Noel. Shannon Ray Knoll. Kelsey Lynn Ledford. Kelsey Joe Lombard. Hannah Lynn McDowell, cum laude. Motley. Brittany Lynn Motley. Oaks. Jesse Stephen Oaks, magna cum laude. Paige Elizabeth Pabst, cum laude. Lori Ann Phillips, magna cum laude. Tanisha Lizette Ray, cum laude. Pia Trinita Ricks, magna cum laude. Martricia Hazeline Scott Rodriguez. Rachel Ann Rosal.
Alyssa Ann Steinlage, magna cum laude. Thank you. Tyrone Anthony Lee Tatum. Villanueva. Chelsea Blair Villanueva. Quincy Allen Waldron. Dana Renee Wilson, cum laude. David Owen Wood, Jr. Emily Jean Zwanitzer. The following students will receive a Bachelor of Science degree in Statistics. Yi Lee. Calvin Hung Wen. Kristen Elizabeth Petrie, cum laude. The following students will receive a Bachelor of Arts degree in Women's Studies. Emily Michelle Bond. The following students will receive a Bachelor of Science degree in Women's Studies. Lisette Monique Corbet. Amanda Jean Mosteller. Thank you. Allison Hunter Soul.
As you predicted.
Yeah, we're doing good.
You have to move fast. Yeah.
We're perfect.
With the awarding of the last diploma, I take this final opportunity to express my appreciation to all who have participated. I want to thank the members of the Platform Party and other members of the staff in the Dean's office who have worked very hard to arrange for the orderly conduct of this ceremony. Finally, I wish to thank our marshals, Dr. Kent Kirby, Dr. Spencer Wood, and Dr. Chuck Martin, as well as our organist, Professor David Pickering, for their participation in the ceremony. The heart and soul of any institute of higher education is the faculty. I would like to ask the faculty to stand and be recognized. Please join me in recognizing their contributions. Please be seated. Now I would like the graduates to join us in recognizing another group of people who have contributed much and perhaps received little recognition. Would the parents, spouses, family, and friends of the graduates please stand and be recognized? What a beautiful group. Thank you. I would like to introduce now Dr. Peter Dorhout, the Vice President of Research at K-State and the previous Dean of this college, who started a tradition during his tenure as dean of leading you in the KSU cheer for the first time as alumni. Peter, would you please lead us? How was that? Yes! To conclude the ceremony, the College of Education starts at 11, so they're waiting there. We invite our graduates to join in the singing of the K-State alma mater, this time as alumni. If you need any help, no, you would not need any help. The words will appear on the screen. While R.J. Leonard returns to the stage, a couple of reminders. First, after we finish singing, we ask our audience, please remain seated until the platform party has recessed, and that our new graduates, please wait until the marshals direct your row to rise. We want to do this in an orderly way. Faculty, though, may exit through the tunnel. There's a reason for that. We would appreciate it if graduates and families could greet each other in the upper concourse near the ticket booths. With that, I'm proud to turn it over to RJ, who has done a fantastic job earlier today. Another fantastic performance by RJ. Let's give him a hand once more, and you please be seated. All right, it is time now to go forth and celebrate your graduation. You have the diploma cover to prove it, right? You can now go ahead with that diploma cover and change the world. Be proud of your accomplishment at K-State, and once again, heartfelt congratulations from me and the group. Congratulations.